Hi everyone, it's me Darlene, still with this head congestion thing going on, so I might sound a little bit different, but I feel fine and I want to do a mystery block because I haven't done one for 2 weeks. I just pulled out a few scraps, and I have this also from a previous block. We had made, a half square triangle thingy where you do 2 pieces and then you sew and cut on the line and you end up with 2. So I'm going to try to use this one in here, and I like a little bit of tone on tone. This is maybe off-white, not white. So I'm going to use that. And I just pulled a few other things, and I thought, let's just get started. Now I'm wondering if this, oh yeah, so if you don't know what I'm doing here, there's a playlist link in the description of this video. I just sit down with scraps, I figure out what I want to do, I tell you the measurements of my pieces, and you can make your own scrappy quilt block like I'm making. And this is going to be number 20, so after 10, we started sewing some together, and then after 15, we did some more. This is block number 20, so the next video will be putting more pieces together. It's going to start going quick now because we already have some big blocks made by putting together some of the smaller blocks that we made. And just to let you know, whatever I do here, you don't have to do the same as me. You're going to see that no matter what size block you end up with, it's going to work. When you put them down and we want to make a quilt top, you're just going to either trim or add to your blocks to make them all fit. So I hope I have you convinced about that. So I'm going to say, let's just do this. We're going to start with this. And where's my ruler? Let's see what we got. This is about 3 inches square. And this is about 3 inches square. All right. So you don't have to have a half square triangle. You can just have something 3 inches square. If you made this, when I made this in a previous mystery block video, then you probably have this left over like I do. We're going to sew those together. And I don't sew on camera for this series to save on time, but if you like to watch me sew or hear the sound of the sewing machine, you want to watch my crumb chats. There's a playlist link for that also. Now let's see. We can put this on here. I could put something else here. Why don't we? How about this? That can go on there, and then we can sew this. This will still be a little bit longer, but then we can trim. So I think that's going to work. Let me press this guy. I don't care about the prints and colors that much. So, oh yeah, let me tell you what this is. So this we know is 3 inches. So you want something at least 3 inches, but go for like 3.5 inches wide. Mine happens to be, like 3 3/4, but 3.5 is good. And then I have 1 3/4 inches tall, but it can be a little bit taller if you want, because we're going to be trimming. So I'm just going to put this here, and I'm going to sew right there, and you can see that I have extra on each side, so I'm just going to trim. I'm not even concerned if I'm doing a good job at trimming or not. Now see, I like that. Some people would have said, no, that doesn't go good. I don't know if it necessarily goes good together like, the colors on the color chart, but I just look at this and I say, I like it. Now, let me press this guy. This needs to be longer than 6.5, this piece. Mine is about 7.5. I would say at least 7 inches. Oh, and we've got 2.5 inches wide. So I'm going to sew this here, right there. Now we have this, and I like this scrap. I don't know where I got this scrap. I don't cut with pinking shears. This is pinked all the way around, and it's not like square, it's rectangular. So this is going to be about 4.5 inches wide by 4 3/4 tall. And then I'm going to add this, and with the seam allowance, it should be as tall as this. So this is, we want it to be at least 4.5, so go longer. Obviously mine is much longer because I don't trim, you know, I don't cut to fit. I do this first and then I trim. So at least 4.5, longer than 4.5, and we have, about 2 3/4 tall. So I'm going to sew this here, like that. And now we can sew this to this. And mine's just making it. If this ends up being shorter, that's okay. You sew it on, and then you can trim. You could, you know, since this is more narrow this way, you could match up the tops, and then you could even out by trimming the bottom because you got more fabric. But you could do top, bottom, whatever floats your boat. Right there. I trimmed the bottom a little bit just to even it out because this one was sticking out longer. We could stop there if we wanted. Should we? Let's add a little bit more. Let me get a strip or something. Okay. I have some of this, and I'll just trim it to, you know, wider than that, like this. So you need at least 9, go bigger, at least 9.5 by 2.5. That's a little wrinkled, but I can deal with it. And I'm going to put it here. I don't know, I just, could be down there, but I kind of like it here. So I'm going to put it here, like that, right there. This is what we have. I like it. I trimmed mine to 8.5 inches square. You can trim yours to whatever biggest size you can get, and it can be rectangular. It doesn't have to be square, so do whatever you want. I have been numbering mine, like this is number 20. You may want to do that. If you haven't yet, you could go back and watch the other videos again just to see what number blocks. Because when I tell you what I'm putting together, if you want to do the same as me, I'll be saying, okay, I'm taking block number 20 and block number 11, and we're going to be putting those together. It just might make it easier, but if not, don't worry about it. I guess that's all I have to say. Please subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this series. I do plan on continuing with the mystery quilt blocks in some way after we do a quilt top with this, because I just enjoy it so much, and it's a way to use up my scraps, and it clears my head. When I don't feel like thinking of anything else, I can sit down and do this. I love the crumb chats too for the same reason. I'm going to take a picture of this. You're going to see it coming up right now. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll be back with more soon. Bye.